I was sitting on the couch when my phone buzzed. It wasn't unusual. My wife, Claire, and I texted throughout the day. But this message stopped me cold. Going on a sudden trip with my ex, hope you're okay. I read it once. Then again. The words didn't shift. Didn't rearrange into something less devastating. A sudden trip. With her ex. And all she had to say was hope you're okay. My thumb hovered over the screen, but my mind felt like it had frozen. My first instinct was to call her immediately, demand an explanation. But then something in me cracked. A strange, sharp clarity rushed in. Instead of lashing out, I typed back 2 words. No problem. And then I sat there, staring at the wall, my heart hammering like I had just sprinted a mile. Claire and I had been married for 5 years. Together for almost 8. We weren't perfect, no marriages, but I thought we were solid. We laughed often, made plans for the future, and still held hands in the grocery store. But over the last few months I noticed shifts. She was quieter, distracted. Sometimes she'd smile at her phone in a way she didn't with me anymore. I tried to ignore the whispers in my gut, telling myself it was stress from work. No. Those whispers were screaming. The rest of the evening blurred. I replayed the message in my head 100 times. Her ex. She hadn't even used his name. Like I should know exactly who she meant. And I did. Ethan. Her college boyfriend. The one who broke her heart but somehow never lost a piece of her. The one she described as toxic, but spoke about with a flicker of nostalgia she never used for anyone else. I remembered the night we first talked about him. We were lying in bed, still in that early stage where you share your scars like trophies. She told me Ethan cheated, lied, and left her shattered. I had held her, kissed her hair, and promised I'd never treat her that way. Now here she was, voluntarily going on a trip with him, and asking me to be okay with it. The next morning I played it cool. When Claire came downstairs, suitcase in hand, she looked radiant in a way that twisted the knife deeper. She wore her favorite summer dress, the one I used to compliment her in because it made her eyes glow. "Morning," she said lightly, almost nervously. "Morning," I echoed. She poured herself coffee, her movements a little too quick. "I'll be back in a couple days. Don't wait up." I wanted to scream, "Who are you right now?" Instead I nodded. "Safe travels." Her eyes flicked up, searching my face, maybe expecting anger. But I gave her nothing. Just silence. And that silence rattled her. She lingered in the doorway, then finally left without another word. The sound of the door clicking shut felt like a nail hammered into my chest. Once she was gone, I sat at the kitchen table, my hands clenched. The fury inside me boiled, but beneath it was something worse. Grief. Had I lost her already? I opened her laptop, something I'd never done before. But the rules had changed the moment she decided her ex was worth a secret trip. My hands shook as I clicked open her email, then her social media. It didn't take long. An email chain with Ethan. Flight confirmations. Messages full of inside jokes, casual intimacy, and references that made me realize this wasn't sudden. This had been building. And then the gut punch. Can't wait to relive old times. This feels right. From her. Sat back numb. My wife wasn't just reconnecting with an ex. She was planning to recreate something with him. Maybe she already had. For the next 2 days I barely slept. I went to work, plastered on a mask, then came home to an empty house that smelled faintly of her perfume. Every sound felt amplified. The hum of the fridge, the creak of the floorboards. But the loudest thing of all was my mind, replaying scenarios of what she might be doing with him right now. I hated that I still loved her. I hated that part of me wanted her to come home and tell me it was all a mistake. When Claire finally walked back through the door, she looked tired but happy. That glow again. "Hey," she said softly, setting down her bag. "Hey." My voice was flat. She studied me carefully. "You okay?" I forced a smile that felt like broken glass. "No problem, remember?" Her lips parted, but she didn't respond. She just went upstairs, leaving me standing in the silence that had become our new normal. That night, after she fell asleep beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed once on the nightstand. She shifted but didn't wake. Picked it up. Another message from Ethan. Wish we had more time. You looked incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. My chest caved in. My hand trembled as I set the phone down, careful not to wake her. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a choice. She had chosen him. And now it was my turn to choose. The next morning I packed a small bag and left before she woke up. I didn't slam doors or leave a dramatic note. Just silence again. I drove aimlessly for hours until I ended up at my brother's place. When he opened the door and saw my face, he didn't ask questions. He just said, "Stay as long as you need." For the first time in days I let myself cry. Over the next week, Claire sent me messages. "Where are you? Why are you doing this? We need to talk." I ignored them. Finally she called. I let it ring until I couldn't anymore. Answered. "James, please," she said, her voice cracking. "You just left. You didn't even say anything." I swallowed hard. "Neither did you, Claire. You said everything when you left with him." Silence. "It was just a trip," she whispered. "It didn't mean." "Don't." My voice was steel. "I saw the messages." Her breath hitched. "James, I..." Cut her off. "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." And I hung up. Filing for divorce wasn't easy. Every paper I signed felt like tearing out a piece of my own chest. Friends and family tried to comfort me, but their words blurred together. The hardest part was remembering the small things, the way she used to laugh at my terrible jokes, how she'd steal fries off my plate, the morning she'd curl into me like I was her safe place. But that wasn't us anymore. That was a memory. Months later, Claire showed up at my brother's house. I came home from work to find her sitting on the porch, looking thinner, her eyes rimmed red. "James," she said, standing quickly. "Please. Just hear me out." I stood there, keys in hand, my chest tight. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I thought I needed closure with Ethan, but it was nothing. Swear. I don't want him. I want you." Her words might have broken me once, but now they just felt hollow. I took a deep breath. "Claire, I wanted to believe in us more than anything. But you didn't just cheat on me. You made me feel small, replaceable, like my love wasn't enough." Tears spilled down her face. It was enough. I was the one who wasn't. I almost believed her. Almost. But then I remembered the message, the laughter in her emails, the glow in her eyes when she came back from him. "No," I said quietly. "You were the one who chose." And with that I walked inside, leaving her on the porch, sobbing. Healing took time. Some nights, the memories still came back sharp, cutting through me when I least expected it. But slowly I learned to breathe again, to laugh again. What her betrayal taught me was brutal, but clear. Love without respect is an illusion. Trust, once broken, rarely returns whole. And sometimes the bravest thing you can say isn't "I forgive you." It's goodbye.